On the weekend, I was invited by Channel 4 News to talk about the heat waves that we've been experiencing in the UK. And whenever I talk online about the climate crisis, I invariably get climate deniers in my inbox and comments. In this case, there's a fellow telling me that heat waves are in fact 100% natural. Now, I have a sort of morbid curiosity around where these ideas and stories come from. In this instance, he linked me to this quite extensive article full of climate disinformation and straight up lies, if I'm totally honest. But I was more interested to understand who the author was. In this case, it's a fellow named Jim Steele. Now, I did some research on Jim, and by research, I mean I did a single Google search. And what that showed is that Jim is on the board of directors of this organization called the CO2 Coalition. Now, a first glance would perhaps lead you to think that this is some kind of climate nonprofit. They have very green kind of branding. They talk about sharing information on climate and CO2. And yet it very quickly becomes clear that they are just peddling climate lies. In fact, in the same sentence, they write that CO2 is at a historic low, and yet equally, recent increases have in fact been good for humanity and for our ecosystems. Make it make sense. Which leads me to my next question. Who is behind this organization? And of course, another quick Google showed that the CO2 Coalition is funded by big oil and gas. They're funded by the energy industry, by fossil fuel interests, by conservative donors, which is really no surprise at all. And I also learned that the founder of this organization is in fact one of Trump's leading advisors on climate policy. That's everything that I learned in less than 10 minutes of researching online, but it speaks to this really insidious ecosystem of climate denial and disinformation.